Boom, boom, rock me. I'm a Bodhi, I'm a Bodhi, I'm a Bodhi. I'm a Bodhi, I'm a Bodhi, I'm a Bodhi. Oh, 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 I'm a Bodhi, 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 Bodhi. Bodhi! I'm John with a J, and
I'm Bodhi Ray, and today is episode 11, mattkhan. Whatever arises, love that.
that was
I
my.
love you, John.
Ray. I love you, man. We're excited
That
about
was awesome.
today's. Thank you. We're excited about today's episode. We don't talk about why. I just say I think we're gonna have a lot of fun today, and then we go. Oh, let's wait. Let's hold it for the audience, for each other, so it's all a surprise. And I really, whoo, here we go, man. This is the 2020 love revolution. Yeah, we are about to blow this up, and that will become more and more clear what we mean about the love revolution as we talk about today's episode. But let me start by saying, Ray, that intro, that surprise, was because Ray has talked about wanting eventually to have, musical introduction and, special. We don't have a team though. This is us, and we're operating in different states, and we haven't invested much in technology yet, but maybe someone has, because we just got an upgrade. And in lieu of that upgrade, I was like, I need to give back to Ray because Ray is giving to the show. So that was my weird and fun way of giving you music, even though we don't have it engineered for us yet. But what have you done to recently make the Bodhi Bros even better, Ray? Share.
Well, I upgraded my internet connection, so hopefully this comes in a lot clearer visually and audio-wise.
So good already, man. The shirt's crisp. The sun is shining more brightly than it ever has behind you. The room is whiter. It's like fluorescent white behind you. And then you have your tapestry.
I had to send love to the podcast.
Oh, it's so good, man. I am feeling the love. And when you initially...
So what did you think of this video, man?
Well, let me start by saying when you initially sent it to me, I didn't know who this guy was, but this image pops up on my screen, and I hit play just to get a quick feel, but I wasn't going to watch it then. And all I could see, and never unsee again, and this might harm you, Ray, in the same way, where it's like just permanently emblazoned on your brain now. And maybe even you in the audience out there, you'll never be able to see this guy or hear him the same again. It's almost my hope, because I think it's wonderful and fun. But I'm thinking he's a younger brother, a younger, creepier brother to Jack Black that drives an ice cream truck. So he's a creepy young Jack Black that drives an ice cream truck, this guy. And I'm like, what have you sent me, man? And I have a severe split for this guy as I finally watched the video, and I'm like, I either want a t-shirt of this guy's face just right here, and the other aspect of me wants to grab a giant paper plate and a giant plastic cup and put a lid on him and usher him outside and get rid of it really quick. Like I'm scared of him, but I'm adoring him in the same.
I used to watch a lot of mattkhan back in the day.
Really? Okay.
And yeah, I used to be into his videos. I was kind of like, I don't know. Like I'm talking in the past. I always kind of felt like he was maybe a little smug, a little bit, the way he kind of talks, and it kind of turned me off a little bit. But however, watching this is the first time I watched mattkhan in a long time. I really love this video. To me, this video resonated with me deeply on a personal level, and to me, it was one of the best. To me, it was one of the best ones that I think we've watched so far.
I wholeheartedly agree. I wanted to hate it, Ray. I didn't. He was rubbing me in all the wrong ways, and I'm like, do I want to hang out with this guy, or do I want to, do I want to run away from this guy? I'm like, so I'm like, stop it. Be with him. Be with the message. Open your heart, and let all the other stuff, chatter, wash away. And you're right, man. Like this, it was probably at episode 11. We're 11 in now. It was probably my favorite video, and it affected me in all the best of ways, man. So we can jump into that. Where do you want to start, man? I mean, we could start from the beginning. This was recorded, I think, in 2015, and
Right.
he calls what he's talking about ultimately the love revolution. And that's why I said, welcome to the 2020 love revolution. I feel like we should rekindle this message. I hope this podcast episode catches fire on Spotify, Anchor, YouTube, whatever. Somehow the algorithms catch it. The likers set it ablaze and get this message out there, because it's a great time for this message.
Yeah, I mean, basically, the overall message is love yourself, which has really been the theme of myself for this whole year, is loving myself. And he said, basically, until we learn how to love ourselves, we give space for all those things to manifest in our lives, all those things that we don't want to happen will come into our lives to basically teach us that we need to love ourselves more. And I've been going through that really my whole life, especially this year with as some of you know, I had a really bad breakup at the beginning of the year. One thing that he really resonated, really kind of rang true with me, was that when you love yourself, you become the safest person in any relationship. And this is something that kind of resonated with me, that I came about maybe like a month ago or so. Like I was saying, going back to that relationship I had was an 8-month relationship that ended in February. I realized why it was so hard, why I was so attached in that relationship, because it was the first relationship that I really felt safe in. And that's kind of a shock to probably some people, because I was married before. I was with my ex-wife for 13, 14 years. And to be honest, when I look back, I did not feel safe in that relationship. And the reason why I didn't feel safe in that relationship, well, part of it was because of her. She was a complainer, and she always made me feel like I was never like good enough. But because I did not love myself, that felt normal to me. It felt, because I felt like I wasn't good enough for her. But at the same time, though, because I didn't feel like I was good enough for myself, I was sort of used to that. It felt normal to not feel like I was good enough. So in the path of loving myself, a lot went on between my marriage ending and this relationship that ended in February. So I came to realize that relationship, why I was so attached to that, because it was the first relationship where I really felt safe, up until she did a 180 and basically became the most unsafe person that I was ever with. But it brought the spotlight on that, and it brought the spotlight on making the focus of loving myself and becoming the safest version in any relationship, and being able to rely on myself and listen to my instincts, and have healthy boundaries. So this video, it kind of touched me in a personal way.
Yeah. You become the most safe person for you to be around.
Yeah, and that only happens when you love yourself.
That's when the magic happens. I have it in like big old parenthesis things, like make sure, you hit that note, and that's the first thing you come out of the gate hitting, man, because that, and what's the other one? There's something right below it too that was starred. We can't stop what's already in motion. And he was talking about the worry, hate, guilt, shame, avalanche of things. Like you can't stop it. It's a snowball, he said. It's an avalanche, he calls it.
We try to stop it all we can.
Right. And I love this. What he says is we're creating, what you are doing is you make a choice by creating new vibrational patterns at a higher frequency that nullifies and transmutes all patterns in your field simultaneously when those bigger patterns are created. And it's a lot to ingest, but we're creating a new vibrational pattern at a higher frequency that nullifies and transmutes all patterns in your field simultaneously when those bigger patterns are created. And so he's talking about love, and that frequency of love, and that vibration of love. And that spills into, that actually comes from, flip over the other page, it's rewriting the program. And and telling ourselves, I love you, waking up every morning and say, John, and I did it this morning. It's a little John. Okay, I love you. Big John, love you. All the Johns inside of me, like, I love you guys. I love you. Look in the mirror and just, I love you. And he's like, it's not fake. It's like, if it feels fake, it only just means that it's not become a part of your subconscious yet in a way that all those other programs were a part. So you
Right.
are redesigning that system. And I love that. I'm like, this, and I've heard similar things before, and maybe I just wasn't ready to entirely hear it and bring it into my being. But like you said, this affected me profoundly, and it was great timing. Externally for what's happening in the world, and internally what's going on in me in my life. And I'm like, when I first watched the video last week, when you sent it to me, just erasing all the Jack Black ice cream truck stuff from my mind, and really, really honing in on the message itself. I just kept telling myself and everything, everyone, every breath around, I love you. I'm like, I'm going to reprogram my world, because I didn't grow up with that. Genuine I love yous. There were things attached
Yeah.
to it, the agendas attached to it, and like
It was
hate.
conditional love.
Yes. And so I'm like, I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna keep saying it. And it made such a magical difference in my every day and my every step. I said, my partner tells me all the time, like, I love you. And sometimes I look at her, and I'm like, you say that a lot. And it's such a gift. So I'm starting to give it back to her, like I've said it to her. It's just not something that I withhold from anyone that I love in my life, whether you're a friend, family, or otherwise. Like I say love you to people I've just met. But this is a whole nother level, man. This is because that to me is almost easier. Say I love you to my daughter. Say I love you to my partner.
Of course.
It's man. Every morning now
It,
I'm
it,
waking
it,
up.
it kind of goes back to like a lot of loops of other videos we've seen, like how we said about the avalanche of the stuff we can't stop. It made me think of the My Tree, how we kind of
Yes.
cradle that, and we kind of cradle that stuff ourselves, and that loving kindness, and we don't stop it, we just embrace it, and we give it love to all those things that we don't like, those negative feelings. And even what you're saying about the conditional love, how it's easy to love family and spouse, and it kind of goes back to some of those other things that we've listened to the video about, how you start with the people who are the easiest to love, and then you kind of go down the line. And
Yeah.
you open your heart to the people who are maybe someone, then you go to maybe someone who's neutral, then you go to maybe somebody who, I don't know, somebody who wronged you in the past that you have forgiven, but maybe there's a little bit of tension left, and then you kind of go down to the person that you have the hardest time to love, and you practice going down the line like that.
Yeah, I used to be the road rage guy, but now that doesn't work, man. It's uncomfortable. It's just horrible in every way, and every just conceivable avenue that opens when you start flicking people off, or when
Yeah.
people honk their horn at you or whatever, and like throwing your hands in the air. Now I just kind of like I've gotten to a point, and even in this last week, man, like if I see something or someone cuts me off or something like that, I just kind of like, I'm like,
I think a good
I love you,
practice
man.
too
I
is
love
to
you.
look and I think a good practice to try to do that is to see everybody as teaching you something. Everyone's, so even like I said, going back to my ex who really hurt me. Yeah, you know what? I could look at her and say I love you now, because she taught me to love myself more, and she taught me how to be safe with myself. So when I look at it that way, that okay, she taught me to love myself, then it's like, okay, it kind of, some of that hate kind of melts. It's like, okay, I can open my heart to you now because you taught me this. You were the guru in disguise. You were the teacher. So that's how it's. I think that's just one way to look at it, and you could see the people in the traffic as they're teaching you patience.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Hey, thanks for teaching me. Thank you for that. It's all
And,
lesson.
and if you remember, connecting the dots to all of our previous videos, the ants, Ray, the ants, which represented patience in my life. So they have been teaching me. and it's been a fun ride there with the ants and patients and traffic, and in this last week, just waking up every morning instead of, and you and I talked about this, me saying, oh, I got to do my chores, my morning things, and you said, be more mindful with them and put more love into them, and like, okay. But even before that, before even getting out of bed, just starting my day, and I've never done this in 46 years, with I love you, man. Even this morning, I put my hand on my chest and I scratch, because my partner does this for me. When I'm stressed or something, she'll like itch my chest or just like rub her hand here, like right by my heart. And it always like soothes me, calms me down, because
Yeah.
she's giving me unconditional presence and love. So I'm doing that for myself now. And
Yeah.
what a great tone to start the day off on, man. Like, I had a little skip in my step,
Well,
and sorry to cut you off, and it made my morning chores not feel like that word chores, like, because it was just like I was in a different frequency, I think. Like,
right.
I wasn't even thinking about the things that I was doing, because I had already propelled myself in a way that was just so loving that stuff it just melted away. It didn't matter. It was just part of the flow.
That's awesome, dude. That's
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah.
I was gonna say I do something similar, but I do Reiki, but I do self Reiki, and then that was one of my main practices. Like, Reiki is doing just giving yourself love, and I'll go down the chakras. I'll start at my legs, and I'll move up. Sometimes and sometimes I'll just stay at the heart for a while, and I'll let that energy pour in, and it's almost orgasmic. It's just to feel that love you're giving it yourself. And then I'll just go down the throat and the third eye and the crown, and
Oh yes.
I'll just go up and down, up and down. Just feels great. It
That's
refreshes me.
that might be the next step in my practice and progress here with this self-love adventure, because I usually I find myself, I roll to the side from my laying down position. I'll sit up with my feet off the side of the bed, and then I'm like, all right, I'll get here we go, 1, 2. But we have a bed that's low to the ground too. I'm like, 1, 2, 3, and I'll stand up, start doing my things. I did the I love you thing laying down or whatever. I think maybe as I roll to the seated position, the whole Reiki thing makes sense too. Like, I can, even if it's an abbreviated version where maybe I just do my knees, or my feet or my ankles, go to my knees, hit my solar plexus, chest. Maybe I do the whole, the chakras. Maybe I go to where I feel called for the day or something. Maybe it's
Yeah,
just,
definitely.
maybe it's just here in the third eye. Maybe it is just the throat,
Wherever you feel tension.
yeah, what I have time for, or what I feel called to bring light to. That's a really good idea, Ray, and thank you for sharing that,
Yeah.
because I just want to keep elevating this commitment to showing up for myself, because it really, thank you, mattkhan, you creepy little sucker. It's sinister too. Like, it was that sweater, that whole tight sweater and tie thing with the microphone right there, and he's just like, and then his extended pauses,
You
and I'm like, say
got it
something,
down.
Matt, say something. And he's like, he's just like, I can't unsee Jack Black, and that's what kept me going, man, because I love Jack Black, and I'm like,
He's like Jack Black meets Eckhart Tolle.
yeah, I think that's highly accurate. I feel like there's one more element though that we can inject in there. Hopefully it comes up during the podcast. If not, I'll drop it in the comments. But I think there's a third thing, like, aspect too. So Eckhart, Jack Black, and there's one other character that I'm sure. So I want to say Gollum, but that's not it. mattkhan. So what else we got here?
Squiggy.
Oh, this was a great quote. Life will pay you not to worry when you spend your time loving yourself.
Yeah, I mean, if you're loving yourself, then life's not going to manifest those tests anymore, or those lessons that because you don't need it anymore. You're loving yourself, and it's okay. Well, if you're loving yourself, then you're going to manifest things that reflect that love that you're giving yourself, in terms of people, relationships,
Yep. Yep.
Just
Yep.
just
Yep.
different
Yep.
kind of
Yep. Yep.
opportunities.
And you know me, I've shared personally with you on a very, very profoundly deep level. I've struggled with paranoia for most of my childhood and adult life. And this really, really is an alleviating um, practice and channel to explore for anyone suffering with the pain of that overwhelming amount of worry. It's really helped me in this last week. I love that he said, and it's not. This is not just when you start doing this and you feel the momentum of this happening and your life, the movie that your life projects changing in such a drastic way. This is not just a manifestation. This is quantum mechanics. This
Yeah.
is not any hippy dippy bullshit or woo woo wah wah whatever. And I love hippies and I love woo woos. Just for the record, folks, I love everybody. It was tie-dye toe. Look, I'm Bodhi bead baseball cap wearing fool over here. I do it all, love it all. What I'm saying is these are harsh terms that people use. All right, put that hippy dippy crap. Oh, get out of here with that stuff. Dude, this is truth. This is
Yeah.
like the laws of the universe, man. This is like I'm sure you can attest, Ray. I have watched it in action this week. I've watched my life, my relationship with my partner. I show up with more love to her. I mean, this could take time in a lot of folks to see some noticeable differences in the screen that is before them. I'll connect the dots again for you. He says we're on our own time, lines, or and which is pretty much
Reality
saying the
tunnel.
same things, reality tunnels, right? And, but mine has significantly shifted, Ray, and I thank
Same
you
here.
again for
Same here.
steering this ship into the perfect waters at the perfect time. I'm enjoying the ride, brother.
What did you think about his story about abundance with the credit card bill?
That was one that I struggled with a little bit. Why?
Yeah.
Why do you ask? Do you like that?
I don't know. I just wanted what
Okay.
you thought about that, because
Okay.
sometimes.
Okay. So I'm like, all right, I don't know about this, because that just seems like, raw bulldozing almost, right? But I took a step back and I was like, well, that's the same as the I love you. You're transforming your program, the way you were brought up, all that trauma, all the things that your parents told you over and over and over again. You're going to start telling yourself different things over and over and over again. So when that bill shows up and that drop in your chest, that pit in your stomach happens, and that overwhelming stress just envelops you, you're not bulldozing it away. You're not saying, go away, you're not valid, I'm not going to honor those feelings. You're just saying, all right, you're here, I'm also going to introduce this.
Right.
And this is the woohoo. And looking at it alongside of this, you're not abandoning yourself. You're not, I don't think what he was saying, I think initially I was like, oh, this is positive, words of affirmation. This is like kind of like spiritual bypassing, but he's not saying these things don't exist or focus on the positive. He's just saying, introduce this as well. Right.
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
And I like that, because that just adds a whole nother layer to this life experience and way to approach things. And when, you look at your life and the heartbreak you had, and we were both, I didn't know that our number was freakishly the same. I was married for 13 years too.
Yeah.
And that, man, I never thought I would recover from that. I cried every day for a year, Ray. Every day for a year, I shed tears of just horrific pain. I believed in her and us more than anything that I ever thought could exist on this planet.
Yeah.
Which is the mother of my daughter too.
Understandable.
And so I think when the same things start popping up in our life again, that same hurt, and we start noticing those patterns, and maybe we've made some strides and it's not as bad, and we see the in our adjustments and the shadow work we've done and the light work we've done and all this introspection we've done and self-awareness we've raised in ourselves. That's great. But there's always that but. There's that, but I feel like there's more, there's better, there's something I'm missing. And I like what he said too about greed. What the hell did he say about greed? I wrote it
that's what I was
down.
gonna bring up.
He said,
Greed doesn't matter. It's not relevant. Love is so strong that greed's not relevant.
right. Thank you. I couldn't find it on my page. And I was like, I like this, man, because I think if we all aspire for that type of life individually, and this is something we haven't touched on yet, and we stop focusing on the external, man, show up for your protests, your rallies, your organizations, your companies, your communities, your people, do those things, take your action. And I think they're all very important and valid. I'm not saying abandon those things. What I'm saying is, and what I think what he's saying is the most work and the most progress that we can make in anything, in anywhere that will show up externally is by focusing on the love inside, giving the love to yourself. And all those, if we all do that, what a dream, man. I mean, the Beatles said, all you need is love. Mattkhan's not the first one to say it. He just said it in 2015. He said it his way.
He even said in the beginning, if everybody were to stop and say I love you to their own hearts, that the ocean's the pollution.
Go ahead.
Maybe if me and you did it, we can clean up maybe I don't know, a pond.
A retention pond.
Yeah.
Hey, that's a start, man. He did say that. I'm glad I wrote it down too. I was wondering if you were going to touch on that or not. He's like, if we all love ourselves, he's like, the oceans will instantly be purified. And you know, he's in his very, very serious way. And the Fukushimas will disappear. They'll be eradicated off our planet. Basically, is what he was saying. It's just, if we all, and you know what? It sounds kind of comical, but to a degree, he's got a freaking point, man.
Yeah.
It really does, man. If we all take that external spotlight and shine it inside, and if we do what I've been doing all week, and I've been doing it quite casually. I've been doing it like relentlessly, like he says, like do it relentlessly. Just keep doing it, like, because it's new to me. The relentlessly will come with repetition for me. And that's just the way I operate. And I just need some time to adjust. And I'm a stubborn SOB, you know, but dude, if everyone on the planet is doing what I did for the last week, there is no doubt in my mind that so much in our experience would change so emphatically. I mean,
100%.
It's just, but here's the thing. Why aren't we all doing it?
Because we are all looking externally for that love.
Yes.
And we want that people to give it to us. We were looking outward instead of looking inward. I think that's really the issue of it. You know, in our relationships and anything, we're trying to, or if we don't have it, we're trying to compensate with material objects, fame. You know, if I get this much money, if I get this status, people are going to love me more. I'm going to be more acceptable. So a lot of times that drives our goals, is because we don't have that love for ourselves. And we think that if we achieve something, we get something, that fancy car or that cool job, that somehow we're going to get that love that we don't have for ourselves. And maybe we do get it here and there, but it's all impermanent. No one's going to sit there and it's going to go away.
Here is a gift for you, for me, for the entire audience. I will share this personally with you. Over this last week, man, alone, my partner's experience has not changed. She is working more than ever. She is giving more energy to her practice than ever. She is more tired than ever. Like, it's just like her worldly situation has not changed. Mine hasn't either. It's all pretty much the same. I'm doing all my same projects, engaging with all the same people for the most part. But by doing this, she struggles with wanting to show up for me as best she can because she's just so drained Monday through Friday, every week, all these hours that she pours into her private practice. And she's a doctor, folks. And just by loving myself more, I've witnessed her love me more.
Yep.
Like, it's that easy. That external love, that what you're seeking, that you're shining out, just stop it. Try it for a week. See what happens. See if I'm wrong. Like, put some comments down there and go, it didn't work for me, John. Like, and then we'll talk about it. We'll have a conversation, and maybe we'll keep doing it. I'm just saying, man, try it. This is like the 7-day vegan challenge, the 7-day love yourself challenge.
Love it, man.
Do it.
What I noticed too is the more you love yourself, the less fear you have, because you're not looking externally for that. You're not looking for that validation, because when you don't love yourself, all your actions, you're kind of yearning for that. You're yearning for something from outside, from that validation, from that acceptance. And when you love yourself, it's almost life becomes more play than work. Because let's say something doesn't go your way, you know what? It doesn't matter. I still love myself. If somebody rejects me, oh, I don't really care. That's fine. They're allowed to, because you know what? It doesn't affect how I feel about myself. It doesn't affect my self-worth. It doesn't affect the love I have for myself. So the more you love yourself, that's that fear starts to just kind of slowly melt away. And I noticed.
Very expertly said, Bodhi Ray. And I really, 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 really was concerned about the whole spiritual bypassing element of this. I'm like, I don't want to go backwards. I'm like, because I used to be the love, we've talked about this several times, the love and light guy flying above the clouds, and blinders, but I'm just going to say, I love you. I love you. I love you to everyone. I love you. But there's a different dimension here. I think that we're opening. We're not, as I previously mentioned, we're not talking about shutting off these feelings, these emotions that come up of anger, shame, fear, guilt, whatever. We're saying simultaneously introduce this and allow this to shine, allow this to be dark, allow the dance to happen together, but be relentlessly committed to this. And I think when we do shadow work and stuff like this, we start to go, okay, I need to be relentlessly committed to this, because these are where all my traumas are, right? This is all the stuff that I have to heal. I have to heal. And you hear this over here going, hey, don't forget about the love. Don't forget. You're like, okay, I got you, love. But I got it. There's so much trauma. There's so much shadow that I have to address. I think we abandon that love vehicle sometimes.
And what it is, shadow work is loving yourself.
Yes.
It is, because here's the thing. What are you doing? What are you doing with shadow work? You're going back to experiences where love was not there, and you're giving yourself the love that you didn't have. So really, it is loving yourself. It's the same thing. It's all the same thing. It's just a different way of loving yourself. You're just going back in time, basically, in your mind, in your imagination, and your feelings, and giving yourself that love.
Folks, we are connecting the dots here on the Bodhi Bros. We are connecting the dots.
To me, it's all the same. It all comes back to love. It's all loving yourself. And if there's no love in your spiritual practice, then I don't know what the hell you're trying to do. I don't know what you're trying to do.
Yeah, love. There's a person out there, a spiritual teacher. I think her last name is Sheldon. I'll figure it out. I'll drop it in the comments. But her tag phrase that I learned years ago was "love or above," and that was her thing. It's either you choose love or something above that. Like that's it. Like operate on those highest frequencies. Choose love or above. And from that, my own tag phrase was born, and that was "lead with love and leave fear behind." And that wasn't about abandoning fear. It was about that when you are leading with love, that fear, like you just talked about, kind of dissipates and is left behind in the wake of that powerful forward-moving stream of love that you are, providing for yourself, and in turn just ends up shooting out into the world. and that the fear is just left in the wake of that. So love her above, folks. Thank you.
Yeah. So we're not bypassing those feelings that you're not bypassing those feelings of fear, sadness, depression. You're just meeting it with love.
I knew you were going to say that. Meeting
Yeah,
it with love. I knew you were going to say that.
love.
It's perfect. Oh shit. What? There's more on my page. You got other stuff on your page? I know there's got to be more that. He says completely go off the rails with love. He said something about he's like live it like Jim Carrey or some shit. He was like go bonkers Jim Carrey style with love. And I like that because I like Jim Carrey. His work. Never met him in person, but I'm sure that would be a blast.
Why don't we do the cards now?
Okay, we can do the cards. These this is our card reading of the week, our oracle card reading. Sometimes it might be tarot, but this week it is an oracle card reading, and this is the first deck that was ever introduced to me as far as oracle cards are concerned. I have gifted this deck to many people, my own personal deck. I would just say, here, it's your turn to have this deck. And then someone would buy it for me, sometimes even unknowing that I even liked the deck. They're just like, hey, I thought you might like this deck. And it's always such a wonderful moment to be like, it found its way back to me. And you didn't even know, but somehow you knew. And it's the medicine cards. And these are all animal cards by Jamie Samus and David Carson. Hopefully I said that right. Illustrations by Angela. Man, my eyes are terrible. Angela, I can't pronounce your last name because I can't see it. Wow. It's time for some spectacles, Ray. But it comes with a lovely book. Guys, look this up. I'll try to put a link in the description below. Seek this out. Beautiful stories. They're all Native American tales from North and South America, I believe, are the indigenous.
Pretty cool. It comes with that book.
Yeah, it's a thick book, dude. It's one, and this is where all the readings are. It's a hardcover book, and boom, lightning, ta-ta-ta! And so the cards are really, really cool too. There's the porcupine, number 12, my favorite number. Woohoo! So I will shuffle these up, and we'll do a collective reading. But yeah, the animals are all indigenous to North and South America, I believe. So there are no elephants in this deck. No, maybe it's even North America. I'm not even. It might just be North American animals. I'm not certain. But as in many oracle deck books and sets, etc., there's some very creative spreads illustrated in there that you can do. Today we'll just pull one card like we always do. I will clear the lightning animal cards. Rah, rah. Pound them on the Bodhi beads and the baseball hat. My beer is getting soft. My chest is getting flat. I don't know. my tribute to the Beastie Boys. They have been channeled by the Beastie Boys. Let it rest on my heart. Folks, this is for all of you out there to show up maybe today, tomorrow, a week, 3 years from now.
Give it that love.
If you are staying on for this portion of the broadcast, then you are a match to this reading. Love you. Love you.
Love, 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 love.
So much love. In and out. Love. All right.
All right, all right.
1,
what we got?
2, 3, 4, 5, 6. What is it? Episode 11, 7,
Yeah.
8, 9. Woo! 10 and
11.
Boom! The whale.
Whale tail.
Woo! Number
41.
41.
41.
All right, there it is.
I like it.
All right, let's read about the whale. Bum, 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 bum. Number 28, 35. Omaha, hot route. 41, the whale. The whale. It's really cool. Each has just like the card, right? And then right below it is a wonderful little poem. And then it goes into the story of the whale. And then it'll tell you what the reading is. And then at the end, they'll have a contrary section as well. We won't be reading that because we did not flip this card over reversed. It was straight up, like Paul Abdul. Musically, just
Can you do? You should
influence and inspire.
do that song next time in the intro.
Oh, in the intro. Straight up now, Bodhi, do you really want to bros me for? Okay, I just did it. We don't have to do it next time now, folks. All right.
An 80s song every show.
For the record, bro, I am loving your new internet connection. There's been no breaks, no pauses.
Yeah, there hasn't been any
fire.
It's fire.
All right, so whale. Okay, here we go. Whale of mighty oceans. You have seen it all. Secrets of the ages are heard within your call. Teach me how to hear your words and how to understand the very roots of history of when our world began. Whale is known as the record keeper. So that is the message of this particular reading. Whale is very much like a swimming library. Whale carries the history of Mother Earth and is said to have been placed here by the ancients from the dog star Sirius. Biologists say that whale is a mammal and very possibly lived on land millions of years ago. In tribal legend, whales' move into the ocean happened when the earth shifted and Lemuria, the motherland, went below the waves.
Wow.
All of our petroglyphs speak of the motherland, Mu, and the disaster that brought the red race to North America from the west, beyond the great waters. The symbols in the petroglyphs speak of the rivers and mountains crossed by our ancestors when they sought solid ground as the water receded. Whale saw the events that led to the settling of Turtle Island, North America, and has kept the records and knowledge of the motherland alive. It is said that Mu, and that's spelled M-U, will rise again when the fire comes from the sky and lands in another ocean on Mother Earth. The native medicine people are waiting for this event as the next sign of Earth changes. Earth's children will have to unite and honor all the ways and all races in order to survive. Whale medicine people are coded in their DNA to understand that sound frequencies can bring up records in the memories of ancient knowledge. They are usually clairaudient or able to hear both very low and very high frequencies. They are usually also physically developed and fairly telepathic. Many times, however, they are not awakened to their gifts until it is time to use the stored records. Many whale medicine people are able to tap into the universal mind of Great Spirit and have no idea how or why they know what they know. Only later, when they receive confirmation, do they begin to understand how they know or why they received the impressions. Whale medicine teaches us to use the sounds and frequencies that balance our emotional bodies and heal our physical forms. To recall why the shaman's drum brings healing and peace is to align with whale's message. The drum is the universal heartbeat and aligns all beings heart to heart. Before the advent of speech and the primordial language, hand signs were used, and many tribes were silent most of the time. The language that was understood was the sounds of Great Spirit's other creatures, the animals. If you pulled the whale card, and we did, you are being asked to tap into these records and allow yourself to be sung to by those who have the original language. We are the only creatures who do not have our own unique cry or call. Find yours. Allow your voice to use this sound to release tension or emotion. Whale signals a time of finding your origins, of seeing your overall destiny as coded in your DNA, and of finding the sounds that will release those records. You may never be the same again. After all, you are the melody of the universe, and the harmony is the song of the other creatures. In using your voice to open your memory, you are expressing your uniqueness and your personal sound. As you open to this uniqueness, the animals that are your 9 totems may then send their sounds or calls to you or through you. This will open your personal records so that you may further explore your soul's history and commune with Whale, who carries the history of us all.
Wow. Namaste.
Thank you. Whale medicine. Namaste.
So it sounded a lot like it has to deal with throat chakra. Speaking your voice, communication, speaking your truth, maybe allowing that energy from the heart to go up through there. You know, we're saying finding meaning, finding your soul's purpose. You know, and from the heart is the throat is the bridge from the heart up there to the third eye, to that vision, to the soul's knowledge. So
Sure. And in line with that, the reading talked about drumming. I think if we follow what you're saying and just let the natural course of events transpire, that would and might lead us to dancing and singing in the shower, in the car, in your home, to your partner, to yourself. I think it's a great expression. Not all of us have to sing like Whitney Houston to allow ourselves to allow our wail cries and our songs to be heard. It doesn't have to be by other people. It could just be by you. I think it's great.
And it kind of goes with this video too, of loving yourself. When you love yourself, you're able to express that love now to others. So that becomes maybe the next step after loving yourself, is to express that love, to share that.
Holla. Whale medicine. May all of you walk with that for the next week or day or year, and would love to hear where that journey takes you and how whale medicine has affected you. Comment below. Like our videos, folks. Let YouTube know that you want more people to know what we're doing, and you want us to be able to keep doing this. You could support us in many ways. It can be financially. We have many ways that you can do that, whether it's through Anchor or actually we don't have many ways set up to do that yet. Ray, we got to work on that. I'm sure we'll set up a PayPal for the Bodhi Bros or a Venmo or something for folks that want to donate, support the cause. But I know you can do it through Anchor, maybe Spotify. I'm not certain, but definitely Anchor.
Yeah, we gotta work on some Patreon stuff. I was thinking like maybe some ideas.
So, and if you folks have ideas or ways that you'd like to contribute financially, that's great. We're open because we'd like to get some fancy microphones to add to Ray's new setup and to my video as well. I'm sure eventually we'll have some like even more special effects and stuff. But ultimately, it's just to have really good connectivity, sound, and sight for everyone to enjoy a very crisp and professional broadcast. And ultimately maybe allow Ray and I to do this more full time and make this our passion and one of our purposes that we can devote more time and energy into. But other ways other than financially, you can share videos. You can say, hey, if anyone's looking for a new podcast, here's a video, or here's a link. Here's their page. I've been enjoying them. That really helps us out. We are being heard and or seen in I believe it's 12 different countries now. Thank you, Spotify, for those analytics. 12 countries. That's super freaking exciting to me, man. So thank you to all those folks out there in the U.S. and beyond that are tuning in. And one of our particular episodes has caught major fire and is getting a lot of
Which
activity.
one is that?
That is the From Fear to Fearlessness.
That's a good one.
So that's kind of cool. It's outperforming all the other ones. So maybe start with that one or go to that one next if you're listening to this right now. That would make more sense. So if you're thinking of a second one to gravitate to, check that one out.
And let us know too. Let us know if you have any ideas of who you want us to cover. You could just give us the name of the teacher you like, or you could be specific and give us the actual video. So let us know. We're open to anything, any religion, any kind of, even if it's just like somebody who's not really spiritual, but they give really good advice in certain areas. Maybe we'll have to do somebody like I know what you want to do. Who did you want to do next? Maybe you were thinking.
Oh, I talked about maybe doing Brene Brown.
Yeah, maybe her. Yeah,
Is that how you say it?
maybe.
Is it Brene?
I don't know.
I don't either. It's
I don't
Brene.
know.
I think it's Brene Brown. Yeah, I just keep hearing lots of stuff about her, and people, I love her. I love her. I saw a portion of one of her TED talks because I think I was in a hurry or something,
Yeah, same
and
here. I saw part of something one time, and
so
it was
maybe.
really good. But I just didn't have time to listen to it all.
All right, that might be next week's. We might surprise you. Might be something else, or if someone gives us a comment in the next day or so, um, maybe it's what you've suggested. Um, and let's see. I just closed my notebook. I have nothing else. I did
I,
want to ask you because you asked me. I want to make sure we covered it about the envelope and the credit card thing showing up. What my thoughts were. Um,
oh,
what
okay.
were yours on that? And then we can close this bad boy up.
I kind of thought the same thing as you. I just thought it was an interesting take and perspective on programming your mind to look at it from a different perspective. You know, he said in the video, he talks about how he gets the credit card bill in the mail, and it gives him that kind of a negative feeling, a feeling of lack. So instead, he looks at it and he looks at the total. The total is really big, but he looks at the minimum payment and says, "Oh, I could do. I have that money already. So everything I could pay, I already have everything already. I could afford this.
So
So
that
I am
quickly
abundant."
that shifts him into a place. So he goes from a place of scarcity to abundance.
Yes, to abundance. So I just thought it was a good tip, something kind of practical that that we could use. Who doesn't have some sort of money issue? So I think it's something that you can get from this.
Yeah.
So, but overall, my final take: this was a really good video. Resonated with me a lot personally. Um, the overall message is love yourself. Start your own love revolution. Just love yourself unconditionally.
Yes. The love. The 20.
Unconditionally being very important.
This is the continuance of Mattkan's 2015 plea for the love revolution to be ignited. We are setting flames to our own personal fire, just situations. So we've built our pyramids of embers and woods and kindling and stuff. Now Ray and I are lighting those piles of stuff, and we're gonna see what we can turn these piles of stuff into. We're blazing infernos of love, and abundance. That's what I was trying to work myself toward after the credit card thing and your beautiful share there was everything that you seek as far as abundance is concerned, financially, love, friendship, connection, whatever, all of it. Do the 7-day love yourself challenge. Do it. Get on
Yes.
that thing. Hey, shout outs to Ralph Smart for your 7-day vegan challenge. This is this is a little tangent of that. But that's a way of loving yourself too. The 7-day love yourself challenge and see what kind of results you get and how it pertains to abundance. I'm telling you, it is. Thank you, Mattkhan, for your video. Thank
Yeah.
you, Bodhi Ray, for suggesting it for me and for our entire audience to consider because I'm just magical.
So why don't you close us out with another 80s song?
What pressure. Oh my God. Take on, I'll be John with a J.
Yay!
And with my friend Bodhi Ray. Wow, that put me on the spot there, Ray. That's fine, but hey, that's what we do. No scripts here, folks. No editing, no takes. This is a live thing.
Raw.
Yeah, raw.
Raw.
Get in
Raw,
there.
uncut, unfiltered.
That was episode 11. We are signing out. John with a J.
Bodhi Ray.
We'll see you next time for episode 12, folks. Be safe. Be love. Peace.